Well, hello, everyone. My name is Tom Johnson, and I'm the director of EOGogic's Web Live programs. Having been involved in computer-based training in one form or another for more than 25 years now, it's my pleasure to welcome each of you to this Web Live session. For those of you who may be new to EOGogic's, I'll refer you to the About EOGogic's page on our website. Suffice to say that the EOGogic's team, led by KK Aurora, has been involved with many landmark telecom projects worldwide over the last 20 years or so. In fact, I believe KK is in the audience here somewhere.
Hi, Tom. Good day and welcome to the class.
Well, thank you, KK. And now, let me introduce our presenter today. Jim Cavanaugh is a principal member of the EOGogic's telecommunications faculty. During Jim's impressive 30-year career, he has been involved in the hands-on design of many local and global networks involving many different technologies. It's no surprise, then, that he teaches a wide variety of EOGogic's courses, including NGN, IMS, SIP, everything over IP, voice over IP, IPtv, unified communications, mobile IP, IPv6, IPsec, MPLS, SNMP, Ethernet, SONET and SDH, DWDM, network and installation security, disaster recovery, CALIA 911, and many other topics. He's a popular instructor and has taught hundreds of classes on the web and in person worldwide. He's published a half a dozen books and scores of articles on various aspects of telecommunications. He is as entertaining as he is knowledgeable, and I think you'll enjoy today's class. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Cavanaugh.
I'd like to begin by saying welcome, bienvenidos, sawubona, howdy, yahala, namaste, and for those in the northeastern part of the United States, yo. We have a number of people from around the world on the program today, and I'm very happy because this is a global topic. And in fact, I was of the impression for quite some time that the title of today's program was IPtv for all audiences. Apparently, it's the fact that this program today is for all audiences. But certainly, IPtv itself is for all audiences and growing in popularity, and that will be really what our lead-in is in today's program. This material is covered under the intellectual property rights and copyrights of EOGogic's, and this information will allow you to contact EOGogic's for additional rights and permissions for any other use of the material beyond your personal education. This slide is rather an inside joke, and I will explain the joke to you. There are many areas of technology, and certainly IPtv is one of those, where folks definitely suffer from MDD, that is MDD, or multiple definition disorder. IPtv has many definitions, and we're going to give a couple of them so that we can narrow down the scope to fit in the 3 hours we have today. However, we will tell you other definitions and make you aware of those as well. So in order to narrow down the definition, let's take a look at the big picture. When we talk about IPtv, we really, in many cases, are interpreted to mean by some people or defined to mean things that are really not in the scope of today's program. So let's talk about what the areas of definition are. This is a diagram I created to try to bring some logic to the situation. If you look across our information that is on the top of the picture right here, you'll see that we've got really three categories. One category on the left-hand side here is one-way or passive. That is where the program content is coming to you directly. And that is predominantly what today's focus is going to be, though there are some extensions a little bit beyond that. We also have to understand when we talk about the program coming at you, you being an observer of the program, it does not necessarily mean that there is no interaction whatsoever, and it certainly does not mean that there is not a two-way path in the network. As an example, let's talk about pay-per-view content. Obviously, with pay-per-view content, well, not obviously, but with pay-per-view content, you've paid to see the content, and the content's coming at you. You are viewing it. However, there does have to be an upstream or a signaling channel of some type to the provider so that you can provide your billing information, etc. So we're talking about one-way and passive really as from the viewer standpoint, how the viewer interacts. Going across the top in the middle there, we have a two-way interactive, and you'll notice that we've pretty much stepped out of the area of today's focus, which is IPTV. And further on, we've got N-way interactive as well for multiple parties. And the territory that we're talking about there in terms of stored programs might be some sort of gaming, that is to say where you're using a stored program to actually do the gaming. You're doing online learning of some type or simulations or whatever. Going down to the left-hand side, we have another set of definitions over here. We have two, stored and real-time. Stored being on a computer or server somewhere that we're using. Real-time really meaning that we are interacting in some sort of conferencing mode. And one might ask, what is one-way or passive conferencing? Well, increasingly in multimedia and unified communications, we have the ability to participate as a viewer in a conference without actually having our voice be heard or our face be seen, but we can actually, watch the conference as it's going on in real time. And many times that's if we've got a device that's not capable of the full multimedia, or if we haven't paid the full conference fee, or whatever it happens to be, or we just want to keep it going in our background on our desktop and kind of keep an eye on things. So this, excuse me, this really is the big picture of video and IP, and pretty much the area of focus for today's program is defined here. Let's take a look at the brief TV entertainment history. From the inception of television around 1940 until 1980, about 4 decades, we really had 3 predominant channels. And I remember well as a child, being able to watch 3 channels on the black and white television. In fact, anybody who's ever visited Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley in Memphis, Tennessee, in the United States state of Tennessee, will well remember the visual up there. One of the sponsors of Elvis was RCA, for one of the first makers of the televisions. And in his game room downstairs, they call it the jungle sometimes, there was a room with a chair and 3 television sets. So he could watch all 3 of the networks simultaneously. Well, the ability to watch all 3 of those networks simultaneously is long gone. In fact, in the 80s up through the first several years of 2000, we had numerous channels popping up, HBO, CNN, ESPN, and now around 2005, 2006, and moving forward, we have potentially thousands and thousands of sources of what might be considered TV or TV-like entertainment. Some of these are full-period channels like an HBO, HBO West, ESPN that are 24/7, 365. You can get soccer, which outside the U.S. is known as football, around the clock, or American football, the Beatles channel, the home fixing channel, the trout fishing channel, you name it, and also other content sources that are not full period or full time. Interestingly, some of those are emergency channels. They're on during hurricanes, or they're on during a volcanic eruption, or they are on during just certain seasons, Olympics channels, things like that. So what we've really got is a large increase in the number of content sources. We have a decentralization of the broadcast facilities, and we have a dramatic change in the actual model from how the television system broadcast. And we'll talk a lot about that during the program today, but these are the 3 primary phases, and of course we are in the phase on the far right, the and beyond part of